All right, here we are, Shoe Geeks. We're back after an extended break. Very hard to lock these two podiatrists down. They claim to be the two busiest podiatrists in the country, but they've both been on holiday since we chatted last, so that's the reason that we haven't recorded. We're here with, firstly, Tom. Now, you've sent a lot of emails to podcasts trying to get slots on just to talk about this 2:11 marathon you've run. We've finally got you on here. First chat. Well, firstly, congrats. Well done.
Thank you.
Big race. Nida, any words, any congratulations you want to give the big fella?
Look, I've always been a big Tom DeCanto fan. Well, I was a bit sad to see him not get his opportunity at Gold Coast the other year when they cancelled it. So, you know what, Julie? What's most interesting is that after he ran his 2:11, he's actually decreased his commitments to some of the podiatry, like the SEPA stuff, because he's going to put more time into his running for the next few months. So I'm interested to see what he does in the next marathon, actually. So I'm a big believer Tommy's one of those sub 2:10 guys waiting to happen. So,
well, he knows his value now. They've got him. They got him cheap, and now he's run 2:11. They're going to need to pay a bit more to get him on their little boards, committees, and synopsiums or whatever the guys you love call it.
I don't think any of them realise what 2:11 is, what it actually looks like, and what it takes to get there. I think so.
Well, we do, Nida, and we have a big 2:11 man on here. So everyone, we've probably got an extra 20 listeners this week because of this. So,
and then 20 listeners just signed out because they saw you without a shirt on. So,
yeah, mid haircut I am. Halfway through because Tom was late, so I said, "Oh, Bree, I've got a race tonight. Can you just make me look a little younger?" And I reckon it worked. I look heaps younger. Look at that. Although she's taken a lot of greys out.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's why it's younger.
Shirts off.
Lots. Yeah. Okay. Tell us about your race, Tom.
Yeah, it's been a while now. I've had to try and remember. It's been over a day. Yeah. So no, it was. I mean, I've had a little bit of time to reflect on it. Obviously. No, I'm happy. It was kind of, I went there, I think I was telling you the day before, I wanted to go out with, there was 4 pace groups. So the last pace group was going out at 2:11 to 11:30 pace. Thought, okay, that's my opportunity. When am I going to get an opportunity like that? I thought I could run that time if I had a good day, but as you guys both know, I've had some pretty shit days in the marathon, like that Lake Buick day, Julian, when I pulled out like 30K or something. It wasn't a good day. So yeah, it was. When I finished, it was probably more relief than elation, just because I was happy to finally execute something that I thought I could do. So to 2:11:51, it was pretty even. I just had that sort of gradual, that marathon fatigue you get. So it was just maintained. Relatively, the effort got harder, the pace was sort of maintained, but it just got to the point. The last 4K, I was actually worried I was going to have to slow down because my calves. It was my calves that were just really tightening up. It was just like they were becoming rocks. That's why I was fine, but yeah, the legs were what let me down.
But it was always there, Tommy.
Oh, sorry, Nick. What did you think about it, like 10K? What did the pace feel like? Did you think you could pull it off that day at 20? What was your halfway split? And were there any sort of reservations about going out too hard?
The first 10K, I was a little bit more nervous. I was like unsure whether I really should be in that pack and, overthinking whether it felt easy enough. And I also, but then pretty much after 10K, it felt fine. It felt good to halfway. It felt really good at halfway, actually. So come halfway, I think halfway, I don't even know the halfway split, but I think I ran relatively even. So it would have been, I don't know, 65 high, maybe. 65 high, maybe. After halfway, I felt, pretty good. So, I knew I was on for a good day if nothing went wrong. And, we had, so basically how it played out was we had the pacemaker until 25K. So there was a guy leading a pack of about, I don't know, maybe like 40 of us. So like a huge pack. It was ridiculous. I was just sitting in this pack and what it feels like. It feels like you're getting a free ride. I just felt like I was just, all I had to do was sit in the pack didn't feel like I was really working that hard. And then as the pacer pulled out at 25K, it was a little bit cagey, a little bit cat and mouse. Like no one really wanted to pace. There were a couple of guys that did want to keep pushing. And so I still didn't really have to do any work till 30K. So at 30K, I was actually feeling really good at 30K. And I was thinking, I'm going to up for the last 10K. I'm going to bring it home and maybe go sub 211. But I did a couple of K, sub 3 minute Ks, getting a bit overexcited. And I was like, ooh, my legs are getting a little bit sore here. So then I was like, okay, that was a little bit excited, a little bit early. So I dialed it back, and a few guys caught me, and I think I ran with another 3 or 4 guys till about like 38K. So as you've probably heard, like Valencia is ridiculous, like just the depth. So that's what I had. That's what I had then. That's what I reckon helped heaps. It's just running with those guys.
Yeah.
Wow.
And you didn't decide to wear the Vaporfly 3 in the end.
No, I went. Yeah. You know, I don't know how much of it's in my head, but I ran in the Vaporfly ones, the next percent one, just because I'd done a half in the 3s and they were fine. But I guess they still had a little bit of life in my last pair of ones, and I thought I've done a marathon in them. I know they're good. Conceptually, they might feel just slightly better for some reason. So I raced in the ones, but that's the last one though. So it's going to be either, we'll get onto it, but obviously either the 3s or the when I do eventually get my hands on an Alphafly 3, I might give that a go. If that's good, I might race in that.
Tommy, how does nutrition go on the day for you? Did you have to carry it, or did you pick bottles up?
So picks, I just pretty much used the race nutrition. I took 2 gels with me, carried 2 gels. My dad was at one of the drink stations. He did give me 1 gel. The problem is I probably out of the whole race had maybe 2 gels and a couple of sips of a bottle. I just didn't feel, my stomach, even at the start of the race, my stomach felt a little bit, I don't know whether it was nerves, but it didn't feel good. It felt like a little bit stitchy, a little bit whatever. So I didn't really, nutrition was pretty bad. I don't know if that really affected the legs. I don't know whether that was just, I feel like it felt more like mechanical trauma, like with the muscles becoming rock hard rather than a nutritional thing. So I feel like with the amount of long runs I've done and the amount of training I've done without feeling like I require a lot of nutrition, that I'm relatively efficient. I don't burn through calories like too crazy. So I honestly don't think that the fact that I didn't really take much on limited me too much, but I'm doing a Saka, so I'm trying to, I'm going pretty hard on training with nutrition now, so I can, if my stomach's feeling better, I can take on more, and that helps.
This guy just burns fats, Julian. Just burns fats. He's so efficient.
He's one of those physiological anomalies.
Yeah. What was it you were giving me shit for about that?
Everything.
Training.
About my weight. And your weight. Yeah.
I'll talk about that. The fact that I've got such a slow metabolism that if I just eat whatever, doing 200K a week, I could still put on weight.
You didn't do any fad diets leading into this one, Tommy?
What's that?
You didn't do any fad diets leading into this one at all?
No, I don't do fad diets. Come on. I'm not a fad diet person.
Just don't eat. Just under fuels the whole time. Well, that's
good, Tommy.
That's great, Tom. Well done. You got what you deserved.
Thank you. That's good.
And it was really nice to see you do that, because it makes me feel like I'm only 60 seconds or so behind the guy that ran 2:11. I was behind you at Sydney a minute. And then Brett ran 2:8. So, geez, hard course, Sydney. You went from 2:24 down to 2:24 down to 2:11, and Brett went from 2:23 down to, or was he 24 as well, all the way down to 2:8. How about that?
Yeah.
Tommy, I have a question for you. Have they interviewed you on the main show, Inside Running? Have you had an interview on the main show? No. Interesting. Pretty good runner for not interviewing a guy on the main show. You might have to get onto that, Brady.
Yeah. Paul, I actually had him lined up for Shoe Geeks, but I reckon someone cancelled at one point, and then that was it. I said, I'll take care of that interview over here. But I reckon we need a proper full-on one where we go through all the fueling stuff. Brady can call you out in person on that. And then hear, maybe a little bit more. He's done a proper one with you, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Just, is that Tell Me Your Tales? Is that Tell Me Your Tales, or was that?
No, I think it was on Inside Running. It was ages ago.
There you go. Yep, might be for episode 2. Yeah.
Yeah. Update. All right.
Thanks, though.
Nita, what we got today is we got awards. We're going to do our awards for 2023. So we have 4 categories. We have best race shoe of 2023, and it has to have dropped in 2023, not like you guys getting prototypes or something. The shoe has to get released 2023. So we got best race shoe, best jogging shoe, biggest flop / worst shoe, and also what are you excited about in 2024? But before we get into that, let's just do a quick little recap of the last 2 months. Who has worn what? And a few quick comments on what you've been wearing. So let's start off, Nida. What you've been wearing the last 2 months?
Look, probably the biggest 2 changes I've been wearing is I have received 2 shoes, probably similar category, to be honest. I first got the On Cloud Eclipse. I know you were talking a bit about this, Julian. Oh, look, there's a classic rock in the base. That's a good example. This is the big boy from On, and look, it's the biggest shoe they have. It's probably a little bit higher off the ground than what the Monster is, a little bit softer, very aggressive rocker in the forefoot. Slow daily trainer, but I've found this shoe to be probably the most enjoyable one underneath the foot from On. But like you, Julian, like by the end of the run, the pods do compress a fair bit. It probably isn't quite as good at the end of the long run. So 0 to 60 minutes for this shoe. But look, it's still a move in the right direction from On. You can see the pods have been, what do they call this? The double cloud tech, is that right? And the helium foam is really nice underfoot. So the rocker is probably the most aggressive rocker out of all of the On shoes. So you definitely feel that forward assistance. But that's been an enjoyable shoe so far. Probably the other shoe that's probably a similar category is the Nova 4. You boys both have the Nova 4, don't you?
Yep.
Yeah. So look, it's a nice upgrade for number 3. It's a bit heavier. I'd say the upper is probably a little bit wider in the forefoot. Is that knitted upper? The midsole foam durometer. Look, apparently it's the same durometer, but it's not. It's got to be slightly higher density foam. And if you look down on the shoe straight away, you can see this big, large convexity of the midsole through here. It means it doesn't bottom out. So it acts a bit probably heavier and a little bit slower than the Nova 3 did, but it's better for a long time. I actually think it's a really good update from the ASICs. And I reckon probably from a daily trainer, I've taken it along as well. I've been shifting between this shoe and the Super Blast for longer runs as well. While the Super Blast is probably a better shoe to run a little bit faster in, I still probably, it's the next shoe that I go to for a long run actually at the moment. So it's between this and the Super Blast. So ASICs once again have just added another mileage shoe to their line, which is just, really, really good. So they've been the 2 recent ones I've been wearing, and they've both been really good additions. Yeah,
there's in store that Nova Blast. We got it on a lot of feet lately. It dropped December 7, so pretty late. And the geometry of the shoe, they've somehow managed to use like a pretty traditional foam. Like there's no PEBA, there's none of the fun stuff really in it. But the way they've shaped it gives it the toe spring and makes the shoe dynamic versus the Super Blast, which uses a dynamic foam to get the excitement factor.
So it's the 4-foot Blast Plus, isn't it? It's the Eco, is that right?
Oh, mate, there's so many of them. I honestly just starting to ignore the names being used, and I just go off how the shoe feels and the experience you get running it. But could you imagine the Nova Blast but with the turbo foam. The way that's shaped, that would be the shoe right there.
Probably.
I reckon they're missing that because the combination of the geometry of the Nova and the fit and then the Super Blast foam, that'd be the one for me.
It might need a bit more. It might need a bit more forefoot foam, I reckon, just a touch more, I reckon, because the turbo might bottom out a touch more, I think, but you never know. So the Super Blast works because it's a lot of stack underneath the foot as well, so it makes it stiff. Because I actually, the other shoe I have been wearing a little bit as well, thanks to Molly, was I wore I finally got the Vimero, the new Vimero, and look, it's a nice shoe. It feels very traditional in geometry. So look, the rocker in the forefoot sort of isn't really there, and I'm so used to the forefoot. If I sit back and run slow on that shoe, it is actually a really nice feeling shoe. But I'm just so far removed from a shoe that doesn't have a lot of foam in the forefoot and the rocker. So found it quite different to go back to. So been using it on the trails a touch more because the grip on the outsole of every Nike shoe is like a waffle. It grips the ground so well. That's been a really, really nice addition. So
you're in now where you're really just craving forefoot stack?
Basically, yeah. Yep.
It is nice forefoot stack, but sometimes, especially running dirt roads with a lot of corrugations and trails with tree roots, and if when you're trying to get going a bit late, and we're talking like 2.5 sort of hours to drop some pace, just getting rid of forefoot stack can feel quite good. Not having to sort of sink through a shoe to toe off if the shoe's not plated or one of the race shoes, and that's why I like it, because I feel like I can find that point of return a lot quicker through the forefoot. That's my that's why I like it more than say running in a Nova Blast for those runs. The Super Blast, I don't know. The Super Blast has some magic about it where it just feels good at any pace. All right, cool. Well, what have I been running in lately? I've had some medial shin pain, so I've been in shoes that are a little more posted, and I've been using an orthotic. It's not really like a custom orthotic or anything. It was my friend who's a podiatrist. He does his own things, and it's like I'm not sure what the material is. It's like there's like 2 different densities, but I've been using that in my jogging shoes. I found that the best result I get is through quite rocketed shoes. That means I don't really have to, I guess, what's that?
Use the calf as much.
Yeah. So basically, if I'm not having to toe off as much, my shin feels better. Even though there is like still impact soreness, I can run more easily. So I've been using the Asics Glide Ride, and I put the device at the back of the Glide Ride and been jogging in that, and it's been all right. I can get through it fine, and it hasn't sort of regressed. But funnily enough, it feels the best in the race shoes. That's where like the shin feels better. And maybe it's just because I'm running faster and it's all really warmed up. If it's just more of a calf tendon thing, it might just be that I'm running faster. I'm mid-session. I'm not thinking about it as much. Whereas jogging, it's just a bit slower. Maybe I land more on my rear foot, and I'm in shoes that sort of aren't as stiff and rocketed. Although the Glide Ride is the most rocketed that I've ever worn. But yeah, that's the shoe I've been wearing. The GT 2000's a pretty. It's a pretty serviceable shoe for the type of shoe it is, I guess. And for me, where I like more fun shoes, putting that on has been fine. I haven't felt like I'm missing too much if it's just going out for a jog on the dirt. Perhaps if I ran on concrete, I would notice the firmness a little more. But it's even in store, the feedback from customers, pretty soft feeling shoe, like not firm.
It's a good update.
Yeah, it is a good update, and it fits well. Like really nice fitting shoe. The 2E and the D width for ladies, like the wides, aren't that wide. We actually carry the women's in a 2E, so an extra wide, and it fits. It's a nice fit.
Yeah, good.
Yeah. And then I've also been wearing the Alphafly 3, which I'll talk more about when we go into our awards. Although it doesn't really fit our awards this year. So I'm going to talk about it now because officially it doesn't fit our awards. So I've been wearing this bad boy. So the Nike Alphafly Next Percent 3. Now this we got a couple of pairs. I got a pair sent from Chris Cook, who is a product designer over in Oregon, and also a pair from Molly, our friend at Nike in Australia. So big thank you to those guys for hooking us up, because these are some of the hardest shoes ever to get. Now, there's a bit of hype about this. I haven't been an Alphafly, like a massive Alphafly fan the last two models. The first version I liked, but I still preferred the Vaporfly over it. And the second version I never wore because of the fit just wasn't right for me. I found them also quite a bit slappy through the forefoot. I was really loud in the shoe in the previous models. But I can say that all my concerns have been addressed with this. Like the first thing after you slip it on, actually, no, you pick it up and you feel it's lighter. So it doesn't feel heavy at all. It's the lightest Alphafly they've made. I think it's just slightly heavier than the Next Percent 1, which is a great result considering like all the extra foam that we see in there. And the Zoom bags as well, the airbags up front here. So the first thing is the weight. It just feels light. Obviously, it looks different. So like this big rear foot sort of cutout looks a bit spaceshipy. It looks higher stacks. Like it does really look thick underneath. And then slip the shoe on. All of a sudden, the arch irritation that we used to sort of feel here is gone. So the foot disappears into the shoe. Up front, this sort of what they call it vapor weave or something like that. It's probably written on it somewhere, but it's a lot more forgiving up front. So this area here, like the foot, like there's more pliable upper, so not as tight through the toe box, soft through the toe cap, which I love. Like that's a big plus for me, being pretty soft there. There's no heel issue, slip issue. Like we go in there pretty well and it fits like pretty snug. There's two little pads at the back, not as pronounced as the Vaporfly, but those pads sort of comfort the side of the ankle and stop it sort of slipping. There is just the standard lace, which is the, like you've seen this in race shoes from Nike before, this little crinkle cut one. There's no eyelet. Probably one thing that I would maybe like is a slightly further back eyelet. So you can see the last lace loop sits pretty forward. If we got one back a little further, that would maybe lock the heel slightly better. I would like that. I got a size 12, which I am in the Alphafly 2. I'm 11 and a half in the Vaporfly, and you can see why up the toe here. This has absolutely nothing. There's no like reinforcement at all, really. There's just a tiny bit of detail. Whereas
but there's a bit more there's a bit more volume in the Vaporfly 3 comparatively, like the high top. If you look at side on, it's just a little bit shallower, I would have thought. And well, actually, it doesn't look like that in that way, does it? But yeah, it looks like the house of the roof of the shoe of the Alpha 3 felt like a bit lower, but it just felt streamlined. It felt really good.
Yeah. No, it's a brilliant fit. I've got an 11 and a half. I swapped one of my 12s for an 11 and a half that came in store, and I did a long run, like a 28K tempo in it, and my toe got beat, and my big toe has suffered some pretty good damage. So I'm going to be going the 12 in the future. So if you're halfway between, maybe the bigger size will be a bit more sustainable for you. Now, underfoot, when you start running, you can see it's full contact now. So we're going away from like the segmentation, and that segmentation caused a lot of slappiness, and you really like it produced a bigger sweet spot, I think, but it was more unforgiving if you weren't hitting that sweet spot. And a lot of people found like it was hard to get across the zoom, the airbags, whereas this shoe, it's the first thing I felt was so much smoother. So initially, like you could land at any point in the shoe and you could feel like you got a really nice roll forward. You didn't feel like there was something interrupting your foot strike or interrupting the transition from strike to toe off. It's more exaggerated rocker. So through the forefoot, this tip point feels stronger, which I really like. And then the airbag, you've still got a little bit more foam here, but I reckon there might even snuck some more foam above it. It just feels like a little bit more spongy and bouncy under the forefoot of the shoe.
Yep.
So it's like, for me, it's the best ratio I've ever put on straight away. It gives me what the Vapor has in terms of smoothness, but with a little bit more foam and cushion and a bit more forgiving. So to me, this is like this is so far the best ratio I've ever worn. Unfortunately, not a lot of numbers coming into the country or even online. So if you can get your hands on one, you're doing pretty well. But this will be a Osaka shoe, size 12.
So I've spoken to you about the version 1. I never had the version 2, but the version 1 to me was, it felt like it changed my gait because it was almost like I was overstriding in it.
Yeah.
Do you feel like that's less likely in this version 3?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. There's no doubt that the Alpha 1, I loved it because it made me have a longer stride, and you could feel I spent more time on the ground, and that suited me sort of landing a lot more plantar flexed into the ground. This one through here, the cadence rate's a bit higher. It feels a bit snappier. The transition's a bit cleaner, but the toe off point still has the pop sensation you don't get from the Vaporfly. And so that's what's the most unique thing. The weight of the shoe felt pretty similar to what the Vaporfly did, but I'm getting so much more like pop return in the forefoot, which is extraordinary. But if I sit back on the shoe and hit toward heel to toe, there's no slappiness, as Julian said. It probably does keep the cadence rate up a bit higher. Unlike the Vaporfly 1, so Alphafly 1, I still need to feel like I need to go long with my stride. Whereas this one here, I feel like I don't need to go as long with the stride. So they've hit a real sweet spot. I don't want to talk too much about it because out of all the three of us that probably deserve the shoe, you probably deserve it the most, Tom. You don't have it at the moment. But it's the best shoe I put on as a racing performance shoe straight out the box. I remember doing like a tempo, about 320 pace, and then doing some 400 meter repeats in close to 62, 63 seconds. And it functioned beautifully at both those paces. And it's just an amazing shoe. So, I mean, are you wearing it tonight, Julian, for the 10K?
I am. I'm wearing this. Yeah. So I did 10 by K the other day in paces that I haven't run in ages in this shoe. And it didn't feel at any point did it feel sloppy. That's insane considering how much shoe there is at the back here, and it just shouldn't work well on a track, but it does.
I'll be very surprised, Tom, if you don't pick it over the Vaporfly 3 or the Vaporfly 1 for Osaka. But that's just, I hope you get the opportunity beforehand, because I'll be very surprised if you don't pick that. Yeah,
I just need to get some training in it before I choose it as a race shoe. That's
agreed.
He likes to be a bit different too, Nita.
Yeah, it does.
Makes him feel special.
That's cool.
All right, Tommy. So, what have you been running in the last couple of months that we don't know about?
Probably nothing you don't know about. I've been sticking to. I mean, I haven't probably tried as many shoes as you guys have, but I do get given a fair few ASICS models, so I have been really cycling through their range a fair bit. So basically, mostly in the Super Blast and the Nova Blast, Nova Blast 4. And for me, initially when I got the new Nova Blast, I was a bit unsure whether I'd be liking it, because I always liked Nova Blast, like from version 1 as being like that really lightweight, snappy, bouncy, light shoe. And version 4 felt, and it is to me now, even after getting quite a few Ks in it, it's not quite in the same category. It's more of like a smooth, long cruiser for me, like slightly more flush instead of bouncy. So even though it is that 4-foot Blast Plus foam that the Nimbus has, it doesn't feel as soft and plush as that. It's got a bit more pop to it. I guess it's evolved. Like it's definitely, it's different, but no worse than what it has been over the years from its first iteration. But I've been loving it for the just easy runs where the legs are a bit beat up, particularly calf and Achilles, like post-session days where I want to like a high drop, early rocker kind of calf deloader, sort of easier paces. It's worked really well. Then even a couple of long runs, with, I know I like doing my long runs a little bit faster. So, some Ks under 4-minute Ks in them felt great still in the Nova Blast. So really versatile shoe, really comfortable out of the box. The upper's just super, super comfortable upper. Nothing wrong with it. I really like the new Nova Blast. A bit more stable than version 3. So version 3 was a little bit like version 1 in the sense that it was like quite light, snappy, and nimble. But this one, version 4, just it's probably more versatile, has more guts to it. You probably can't, it doesn't quite as fast, but yeah, I think for the purpose that I want it for, when I'm using a fast shoe, I'll just pick a different shoe. I'll pick, and getting to the point, I'll pick like a Super Blast. If I want to do a long run with it, or I just want to have a little bit more pace in my run, that's where the Super Blast comes in. So,
it's a good point. Like, Julian, do you know if the Super Blast 2 comes in with the knitted upper, similar to the Nova Blast? Because this upper in the Nova Blast 4 is fantastic.
It is a different upper. I can't remember. I think it is closer towards the knit, to be honest. I think it does go towards that. Yeah. Yeah. It also
might
gets
be heavier,
a bit more,
more comfortable.
Gets more outer sole too. I think it keeps the same weight, actually, but it gets a little bit more tread on the outer sole, which is good. And I think it gets rid of these bloody, same issue.
Oh, yeah.
See the rocks into the soft foam. I mean, it's perfect city shoe. Tom would never step on a rock his whole life.
No, I don't know what rocks are.
Yeah. All right. Well.
Yeah. The other one is so they're my big boys, but historically, and I still want to touch with the less shoe. So I'm not always in the shoe.
Here we go.
G2 2000, definitely I've enjoyed that shoe. So I do think that's I haven't enjoyed any other GT 2000 from ASICS. So they've turned it into more of this geometric stability. So there's no posting and no plastic bits. So it feels smoother. The foam's slightly softer. To me, it feels like a slightly higher stack Kayano Light, and I quite like the Kayano Light, but it didn't feel like it wasn't that plush. So this is just, I feel like it's a slightly more Kayano Light, stable but not intrusive in any way. And then lastly, the when I feel like a lighter shoe, I'm still jogging in the Streak Fly.
Are you wearing the Nimbus 26 at all, Tommy?
Nimbus 26 a little bit. I don't know. I just gravitate more towards the Nova Blast 4 since I've had that. As opposed to, because I feel like it just deloads my calf. I just like the high pitch feel of the Nova Blast.
Got it. Yep.
Is good, but Street Fly I use for shorter, easy runs, and when I'm doing strides. So I'll do some short hill strides a couple of times a week, and I'll jog maybe 6 to 8K in those shoes, do my hill strides, and then do another few K. Works well for that.
Yep. Yeah, one thing I've noticed about your training is that you don't really do 30-minute doubles or anything, which is probably where I would use the real big recovery type shoes a bit more. Because you go out a bit longer, and the shoes like the Nimbus and the Eclipse and those big ones start to feel a little clunky after 45 minutes.
Yeah.
But you don't run under that. You're always running longer.
Yeah, 55 minutes is kind of my shortest run.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's commuting.
All right, awards time. Now we got the 4 categories. What we're going to do is we're going to do each category, one person say it, and then we're going to go to the next category. So don't get too far ahead of yourself. We're going to start. You get one choice. There's no 2 choices. There's no split prizes.
Yep.
Runner-up?
There's no runner-up. There's no runner-up.
No runner-up.
And you can mention, hey, I was considering this, but I went for this. But I don't want to hear split prizes, runner-ups. All right. Start off. We're going to go with Tom's on the big screen, so he's going to answer the best race shoe of 2023.
Sorry, did you say I'm doing all the categories in a row?
No, you're doing one first. You're doing the one I ask you, and then we're going to each do our winner.
I mean, yeah. I mean, you probably know what I'm going to say. What do you think I'm going to say?
Vaporfly 3.
Vaporfly 3, yeah.
Yeah. So it's not only my race, it's my every session shoe. So I'm using it a lot. So that's like important to note. Like we can have that whole conversation around like when do you use race shoes, how much do you use them? But yeah, I'm in my Vaporfly 3s like at least twice a week, probably on average. I'm not using spikes as much at the moment with the marathon mileage and that sort of stuff. So I'm just in shorter sessions on a Wednesday in my Vaporflies, and then on the longer session.
But is it really your race shoe of the year when you didn't wear it for your big race of the year?
Well, it's the shoe that came out last year. So pick a shoe.
Yep, fair enough. That's the answer. That's my answer too. So I got it here ready, waiting. I've tried a few this year. I tried SC Elite V3, Endorphin Pro V3. I had the Cloud Boom Echo. I probably had a few others. I can't remember. The Rebellion Pro. Last year, the Rebellion Pro was probably the craziest shoe of the year if you're going to do like biggest innovation. However, this shoe here I thought was a good update off the Vaporfly 2, which I didn't like at all. And it was crazy that I could go into this and actually really enjoy it when there was so few changes. But yeah, this was my marathon shoe. Wore this at Sydney. Probably wore it. No, it wasn't out when I did my track 10K, which I probably would have worn it there. Wore it a few races around the traps. I really liked it. It's a shoe you can do every session in. You can do your long tempos in. You can do track work. You can wear it on dirt. You can sort of see that the forefoot's got enough traction there. So it's versatile.
They've just nailed the update on that one.
Yeah.
And it's going to well, look, we can't talk about the Alphafly 3 yet because it's literally just landed. So that'll be a talk for next year. But we're going to well dominated by the Dragonfly on the track. I reckon this was the best upgrade for a spike. I found the substance in the forefoot more than the Dragonfly. Look, I think it's the best spike on the market distance-wise. It's definitely not as easy to access as the Dragonfly. Look, if I had any upgrades through here, maybe the upper could be a little bit more minimalistic. That would be the only thing I would say. But underneath the foot, this is the best spike in the world for 1500 meters plus.
I don't think it is yet.
Pardon? On 10,000.
Yeah. Some people are listening to a podcast, not watching.
Yeah. So, the on Cloud Spike 10,000 is my shoe or upgrade, or definitely best shoe of racing shoe of 2023. So, just to be slightly different.
Well, for reference, we're actually receiving more stock of that this month. So you'll be able to get your hands on some shortly, listeners that want to change from a Dragon or maybe upgrade from a Dragonfly.
Well, just a big shout out to Jordan Donnelly for sending me a couple of pairs of these in the mail, because I actually had a pair flogged from the athletics track not long ago, and I was disappointed because I wore them twice, got them flogged, and then so luckily enough got these in the mail, and much appreciated because they are a spike that still make me feel a bit younger than I am.
That's a good sign.
When I was thinking about my racing shoes, the only other ones I've raced in is used this last year was the Saucony Endorphin Elite and the Rebellion Pro. And I was thinking, when did the Metaspeeds come out? I was like, they didn't release it last year.
They didn't. When
is ASICS updating their super shoes?
Yeah,
it's got to be this year.
It's this year.
Okay.
They're pretty tight on this, on the information that on the Metaspeed release. But just consider the fact that it's the Olympics coming up, and a lot of brands will want to be releasing new product for the Olympics. So we're going to see new race shoes from Saucony, Nike, New Balance, ASICS. I'm not sure. On for sure. We got two models coming from On that both look really good. Brooks has got Hyperion Elite 4 coming out.
Mm-hmm.
Mizuno, they have Rebellion Pro 2 that's just dropped as well.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, who else makes shoes? Puma.
Hey, we're talking about what we're most excited about for 2024 is a segment coming up, Jordan.
All right, yeah, let's not get carried away there. All right, so best jogging shoe, Nita, stay on you. Now, 2023.
Yeah,
best jogging shoe.
Look, the Super Blast was far and beyond the goat of jogging shoes, but we started talking about this in 2022, and I feel like even the podcast had a huge influence on people buying these shoes when they first got released, right? So I'm not going to talk about the Super Blast. That was the end of 2022 for me. So although for everyone else it was 2023, but I'm going to give Asics another run. I actually think the Nova 4 has been once again the best upgrade in that series. Like the cruiser feeling of using this for a long run or a shorter run has been the best daily trainer I've enjoyed. I've had it for maybe 2.5 months now, I reckon, or maybe 2 months. I'm not sure when we got it, Tom, but to be honest, that and the Super Blast, you give me those two shoes and I'd be happy with them too for jogging for the whole year, for sure.
Fair. Tommy, who you got?
Oh, I've gone back and forth in my mind and my opinion tossing between those two over which I guess I'd give like a 4 rating to. I use them for a slightly different purpose for each one, but if I was gonna, I've went back to Super Blast again, just because I was really enjoying the Nova Blast until I got to about 500k, and just as I pretty durable, and then like 2 runs later, I'm like, oh wait a sec, I'm starting to feel that concavity in the forefoot, and so now I notice that forefoot concavity because it's not rebounding anymore. So I'm only like not quite at 600k. I've done more in the Super Blast, and still feels like phenomenal. So I guess from that perspective, from like the lifespan of the shoe as well, like the Super Blast, even though it's a bit more expensive, like it's got to be my number 1 pick. It's just been a lot of fun. I did another long run in it last Sunday just to, because I hadn't for a few weeks, and I was like, it's a lot of fun.
The durability is amazing off the Super Blast. Like it's not talked about enough. It's just amazing durability.
Yeah,
it's this. I think a lot of it has to do with this bottom layer of foam they've used. So that I think it's like
it's the Blast, isn't it? It is the Blast,
but it's a lot firmer and it creates stiffness. It gives the shoe a lot of rigidity, and it also adds to its stability down there. And it's such a small little layer that does so much for the shoe. I'm going to contrast it because I'm going to give the prize to this one, the Vomero 17, which the Vomero is iconic in the industry, and I've had some of the best shoes of my life being a Vomero, especially when we get around that sort of, like we always talk about it, 11, 12, 13, even 10 was good. But this shoe here, it sort of brings me back to liking traditional shoes again. The double layer of foam, it's a bit higher, like because Zoom X is a bit more compliant and maybe not as stable as the Flight Foam Turbo. They've used a higher amount of Cushlon at the back, and through the forefoot you can see why you feel like you bottom it out, or you feel close. There's a lot less of it there, and it does feel firm there. But I've never, I'm running these 35k runs where we pick up a bit of pace, and we're running a lot of hills and a lot of trails, and there's just nothing as versatile as this out there. Like this is a shoe I can take in 10 different terrains at 5 different paces and still feel fine and have a lot of confidence. And the fit is good through the forefoot. It's nice and broad. It's a soft, sort of durable upper. At the back, I really like the lockdown. Nike just do such a good vamp. When we're sort of like tightening, everything just really wraps up through the midfoot. That's something that a lot of brands don't really do as well as Nike. And the cushion at the back. So it's stable through the back of the shoe, the way they've flared it. So yes, it's a neutral shoe, but it's got like a decent amount of platform to land on through the heel and still remain stable. So yeah, the Vomero.
You could say a lot. You could say a lot about this about the structure as well. They got released the same the 25th. Is it 25th version of the structure?
Yeah, you could say it, but it ain't competing for shoe of the year for me. That's for sure.
No, it's definitely a bit firmer underfoot. If you're a higher body mass person or a recreational runner, I think that a lot of those attributes of the upper fit, the outsole, the versatility goes into the structure as well. But it's just a hell of a lot firmer. That's probably the big difference.
It also has cavity on the lateral side, which to me is crazy for a shoe with like a support shoe for someone that might be bigger, because everyone falls into it. The shoe compresses more quickly. It drives me kind of insane that they wouldn't use a similar sort of lateral shape to the wall as the Vomero in the structure. And I know the idea is to sort of provide
creative errors.
Yeah, exactly. But it doesn't work that well. And a lot of people feel the big zoom bag in the forefoot. So feel the ridges of it, feel like they sink too much. Like, I don't like that in a shoe. I think we want to feel smooth. The less things that you notice, the worse. I would prefer to be more simple. And look, it's not far off. I wear it for work. I wear it casual, like as a work shoe, and I do really like it. But I couldn't see myself running in it and loving it.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, definitely removing the zoom bag in the Vomero was a good thing.
Yes, agree. All right, so this is going to be we're going to call it the worst shoe or the biggest flop of 2023. And now you guys love to suck up to brands and reps because you get free stuff from them. So this is going to be a really hard question for you. You're going to find some brands that you don't have a relationship with, I bet you. You're not brave enough to go there.
No, I'll go first then because I'm happy to do it. So, look, you guys know what shoes I was going to talk about, but I actually not even got to mention that shoe. That shouldn't even be mentioned on this podcast. So,
yes, I know what you're talking about.
Yep. But look, the biggest flop for me for the year was the New Balance Bongo 6. I was super disappointed with it. I thought the concept of trying to make it stable with the plate plus the dual density was just too dense. It was firm. The rocker didn't work because you couldn't get over it, and the upper felt very similar to the 1080. The 1080 I found to be quite a good like jogging shoe for short durations, at least fun underfoot. But I felt the Bongo was an absolute flop in terms of stability, and it was the least enjoyable shoe I put on my foot for the whole entire year. Even though aesthetically it looked quite nice, it just didn't function the way that I think they were designing it to.
That's a fair one from you. I kind of forgot about that because we don't wear shit shoes. And one like it's hard to give the prize when like there's a lot of shoes that sit on the wall that just don't suit us. So why would we ever go and buy one or wear one? But when you like, I have a Vongo and I never go for it. I never reach for it because it feels funky. It feels awkward.
Yep, I was given some other shoes by a brand that's meant to be up and coming. It's been out for a while. The Vamazi shoes, podiatrists are going to be stocking them. This shoe hardly should get a mention. It doesn't feel like a running shoe. So categorically, worst running shoe of the year. Well, to me, it's not a running shoe. So I'll leave it at that. That's disappointment. But you'll find that, people moving into podiatry clinics trying to sell the shoe, but you wouldn't find a runner picking that particular shoe either. So it's not a disappointing shoe from running industry because it's not really a running shoe, in my opinion. So
can we just touch on that? Imagine being a runner and you go to a podiatry clinic and the podiatrist says, "Oh, these shoes here, they're great. You need new shoes? Well, I got some here for you." You would feel almost like slightly, it would be almost like a little bit of a hard sell, wouldn't you feel? Like in a podiatry clinic, trying to someone to sell shoes to you.
If you stock these in your clinic, the main reason would be to sell shoes and make a profit. It's not to help the runner. There are so many options out there. When putting these shoes on, I felt like I was time warped back to the early 1990s. Where there's a performance trainer that had lighter weight upper and a slightly, softer foam, and, tuning paces to their velocities, picking a shoe and picking it relative to your pace. Heavier shoe, firmer foam equals slower runner. this has been going on for 20, 30 years, and now it's marketed as a concept to sell to people, and it's just absolutely madness. It's just rebranded stuff that's been happening for the last 30 years and trying to make a sales point out of it. But the shoe, compared to what we have on the market, like you said, Julie, we don't wear shit shoes. If this was given to me in the 1990s, I would have been like, oh yeah, this feels pretty good. It's given to me in 2023. I can't wear the shoe. It's unbelievable. Like, especially if I wear this one day and then wear that the next day, how do you think I'm going to review that shoe? It's relative to what you're wearing on the market. It's extraordinary. It's so far below disappointing that it's hardly worth mentioning. But like, here we are talking about it. So yeah, which is a shame. It's too much attention.
As the runner, I'm listening to this and I'm going, imagine getting sold a shoe in a clinic like that.
Yeah.
You got nothing to compare it to. You walk out the door, you walk past the store, like my store, you look in and you see fucking 120 shoes to pick from that all have better foams and better fits and better rides and feels. And you think, Jesus, I just got sucking into that fucking buying this piece of shit because it's the only thing that was and you're supposed to trust the practitioner, though.
Exactly. Yeah. It's negligent. It's like it's not doing it's a complete disservice to the person who should be educated in what's available on the market to help them enjoy their running. It's a disservice. Yeah.
I saw that, and then I saw the pitch to the podiatrist from the brand, and it was basically just talking about how much money they can make from selling that, and also B, how much they know more about fitting shoes than a running store does. And don't send your referrals elsewhere. Put your customer or your client in this piece of shit shoe, and you get the money. And your customer's going to have the worst running experience of their life and hate the shoe, and then go and have to buy another one anyway. But guess what? You got a sale from it. Fuck that.
Yeah, exactly. Yep, that is to the point. Yep.
Where are these from anyway? What is it? European? Is it a European brand?
Nah, they're American, I think. So designed in America. Not sure where they're produced, but actually, to be honest, the Bongo 6 is much better than these. If there's no, if I'm back on the good books for New Balance, it is well and truly above that. But I was disappointed in New Balance for building the Bongo because New Balance build really good shoes. That's what happens, So comparing it to what I know, these shoes probably shouldn't get a mention. I'm not sure if they're going to be stocked at Pinnacle Podiatry, but
Tommy's got a big mortgage to pay off. Big mortgage out there, Sydney.
They would not be here.
All right, I'll go next for worst shoe. Now this is a hard category. Hard category for me because I sell a lot of these shoes in the clinic, and I don't want the customers knowing my actual thoughts on the shoes. But it's not that hard because I think there's a clear standout in shoes that I've put on this year, and it's the Nike Pegasus 40. And that shoe.
Oh, you stole mine, mate. Far out.
Oh, okay. All right. I can move on from there. I can move on, and I can go for the Nike Infinity React Run Flyknit 4. Now, that I have high hopes for that shoe. I still want that shoe to be the winner. I still think it can have a place, but it just can't the way they're directing it. They're making it so heavy. They're making it so unstable. The uppers are so loose. They're doing what Adidas kind of did to the Ultra Boost, I feel, in that they're taking it away from the running market and they're putting it into the lifestyle category.
Not like the Ultra Boost, No.
Yeah, so I couldn't even. To be honest, I couldn't even walk in the shoe. The lateral cavity I fell off it. The upper was too loose for me, like not strong enough lockdown. The foam, it just felt heavy. So I was very disappointed in that, and I still hope to see version 5 turn a corner. So there's me, Tommy. You got the? You're going to stay with the swoosh.
Yeah. I think I did last year as well. I think I put Street Fly under the bus, yet I still use it. But I think that was because it wasn't. So sorry, Nike. I mean, obviously I love Nike, but that's part of the reason. Because I always have high hopes for the Pegasus. So I grew up running in the Pegasus and loving the Pegasus. So then when I that I don't like, I'm maybe a little bit more harsh on it. But Nita put it well when the category is which shoe did you put on that you found the least enjoyable this year, and that is the shoe that I found least enjoyable that I put on my foot, just for the fact that it was so hard. It just felt harsh. It literally felt like I was landing, like it was almost like I could feel more trauma in my leg each step. It was that. I was like, where is the cushion? There was no cushioning. But the combination of lowish stack height compared to, I guess, what I've been running in, plus Zoom Air units, which are pretty firm, and then the geometer of their EVA must be relatively firm in that shoe. So it just was not enjoyable. I gave it away after one run, just because someone else might enjoy it more than I would. I also didn't really enjoy the Infinity as I haven't with the other models, but it's definitely more enjoyable Infinity than the Pegasus.
Fair.
So that's my pick. Yeah.
All right.
Fair enough.
I know you got an appointment, Tommy, so I'm going to ask you now, what are you excited about 2024? Footwear-wise, not your own career. Footwear-wise.
Again. What did I write down? I wrote something here. I'm obviously very envious of you guys having the Alphafly 3. So that's one. But the other one is I heard on the grapevine that Peg Turbo is making a comeback this year.
Yes. Confirm, that is. It'll be again. Won't drop dates or anything like that, or not too many details. But the Peg Turbo goes away from the Next Nature and back towards what it was kind of designed for. Like very lightweight mileage slash tempo shoe.
I know you weren't a big fan of the original Turbo, but I love you.
No, I loved it. I used to wear that all the time. All the time. Nah, not me.
Okay. I mean, it's just one of those shoes where some people didn't like it, but vast majority of people loved it just for the fact of its simplicity and the softness. So it could be a similar stack to the Pegasus, but because the foam is different, the experience is totally different. So you get this soft.
You can get out of the streak fly. You can get out of the streak fly for your jogs then and put the turbo back on.
Exactly. The streak fly is borderline too small. Like when I run in, I'm like, I'm really low up, foot and ankle more. But
I've heard it from people that from Nike, the Peg Turbo. Those that have seen actual samples of it, a pumped up streak fly, like a beefed up streak fly. That's kind of what we're looking at.
There you go.
Yeah. From the picture I saw floating about, it looks a little bit higher stacked than the old Peg Turbo as well.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm surprised by that, Tommy. I thought you were going to pick the Adidas Evo.
Yeah. Well, I actually had that written down as well.
Can only pick one.
Yeah, I want that shoe badly. Actually, I was going to chat. I don't know if Jordan would allow this, but I did catch a run with Jordan Donnelly, who we spoke to from On, product manager at On. He was talking about the product coming out this year, leading into Paris, and it does sound bloody good. Like the race product sounds good, and there's a model in there that is kind of like angled towards that sort of Evo 1 category from Adidas. Sounded pretty good. So that I'm also I'll probably hounding him to see when that's coming out and more info about it. That
looks. I've seen a few of the race shoes from On, and they are a real step up from their current road race shoe. Real step up. 2 models, high performance, high stack, road racing. I love it. It'll be good. Now, Nita, what are you excited for?
Yeah. Well, you've just taken the last one, the On range coming out. I was torn between this. You might know more, Julian, but like the new Spike range coming out from Nike, we've seen like, both Jaeger and Jacobing Brits and wear like the either the new Air Vic 2s or the Dragonfly Elites and things like that. I'm excited to see what they look like underfoot or feel like underfoot, but I'm probably going to run longer events this year, so I'm looking forward to the On shoe coming out, their performance range, and like even their jogging shoe. I've seen stuff of the Cloud Monster Hyper or the Hyper Cloud Monster. So like you're seeing a range of shoes that are meant to be almost equivalent to the Super Blast, and we'll probably see more shoes from more shoe companies focused on that. I'm actually looking forward to that. So like more shoes that feel like the Super Blast is what I'm looking for, and that On Hyper Cloud Monster looks good.
That looks amazing. I'd sort of forgotten about that, but I remember we looked at this range back in June, and I thought, oh, this is super exciting from this brand, and this could be one of the best ranges that I've seen, sort of top to bottom. So, there's the Cloud Monster Hyper. I'm pumped for that. There are some very light race shoes coming out around Olympic time, and we may have mentioned the brand that's dropping one of them.
Yeah.
So, kind of excited about that. I like the idea of super trainers. Super trainers to me, it makes running fun for everybody. You don't have to race to enjoy the new foams and innovations. And there are a lot of shoes coming out that we consider super trainers. So new updates on existing super trainers. But there's short-term 2024 and there's late 2024. And short-term, we're going to see some stuff in the next few months that is pretty exciting.
Yeah.
Like the Monster Hyper, like the Super Comp Elite V4, like the Saucony Endorphin Pro 4, which looks to be an epic update. So they're race shoes, but they're not super trainers. But yeah, the Super Blast 2, also very good. There's a Gamma 2 from Nike. So an update to their high. Well, I like their trail shoe. Like the Zagama looks amazing. They're putting Vibram on it. So they'll get rid of the only issue that shoe had, which was its grip. There's so much to be excited for.
Yeah. So
much.
Look, I'd be excited, super excited. I remember at the start you said you could only talk about one, and you just mentioned 9. You're so excited.
There's no winner here. There's no winner. We are the winner.
No.
The running community is the winner in 2024.
It's always good.
Who the loser is.
Yeah.
The losers of this, the people who watch this in the video and watch Julian without a shirt this whole podcast.
Oh.
The losers of this.
I'm looking all right at the moment. I'm a bit dehydrated.
Camera every 5 minutes to get a pec shot in.
Oh boy. You know what? Some people racing against me tonight might sneak a watch at that, and they just won't show up anymore. This is what
best of luck tonight.
Testosterone looks like, Tom. You haven't seen that in a while.
No, it's holding it up. Yeah. Test going strong. No problem.
Yeah, that might be the case though, Julian. But you might get to see what 209 looks like as well when at Osaka. But it might not be you. It might be the man above you.
Would you prefer 209 looking like Tom or 214 looking like me?
I don't know. I've grown accustomed to Tom years actually. So I've missed you guys for a while. Yeah. No. I can joke around, but Tom went through my 10K PB in the first 10K of his marathon the other day. So I get to
that's sad,
well, thereabouts. I think it was my 10K PB. So yeah.
Yeah, well, he smashed my PB too.
Yeah, true.
What do you reckon, Julian? You can be my pacer in Osaka. You can be my little gel boy. You can go to 25K instead of 20K this year.
Well, if you want to run 220, I'll pace you for sure. I'll give you a fun little ride at 220 pace. But
granted, whatever Julian can run for half, he can run for a marathon, right?
Yeah, and I can't run 65 minutes for a half. So sorry.
I reckon you boys have boosted up the Osaka Aussie contingent numbers dramatically.
So many going.
Yeah,
that's good.
Have you heard from the elite field coordinator or anything?
No, I emailed again yesterday. Haven't heard back.
I reckon they're on holiday. No one's heard anything.
Okay. All right.
Well, anyone listening to this who's got a pair of size 13 or size 12.5 Alphafly 3s, get them to Tom.
So they were sent. Apparently, they were sent same day as you. So, and they haven't arrived.
Yeah.
So I'm a bit worried.
Yeah, it's a bit sad.
All right.
Yeah.
Boys,
All right, guys,
thank you.
we better get to
Thank
it.
you.
All right.
Good chat.
We'll see you guys next month or maybe later this month.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yep.
See you later.